Story 1. The Whistling Neighbor. It started innocently enough, the way most horrors do, with a sound that seemed out of place, but not immediately alarming. I had just moved into the old Victorian house on Elm Street, a fixer-upper in a quiet suburb outside of Chicago. The real estate agent had called it charming with character, which I later realized was code for creaky floors and drafty windows. But at 28, fresh out of a bad breakup and starting a remote job as a graphic designer, I needed a fresh start. The house was affordable, and the neighborhood was peaceful. Too peaceful, as it turned out. My name is Emily Carter, and I'm not the type to believe in ghosts or urban legends. I've always been rational, the one who debunks conspiracy theories at parties. But that first night, as I unpacked boxes in the living room, I heard it, a soft whistle drifting through the open window. It was melodic, almost cheerful, like someone whistling Yankee Doodle while walking their dog. I peeked outside, but the street was empty under the orange glow of the street lamps. No one, just the rustle of leaves in the autumn wind. I shrugged it off, probably a neighbor I hadn't met yet. The house next door was occupied by an elderly couple, Mr. and Mrs. Hargrove, whom I'd waved to earlier that day. They seemed nice enough, retired, kept to themselves. Maybe Mr. Hargrove was a night owl. The whistling happened again the next night, around 2 a.m. I was in bed, scrolling through my phone, when the tune pierced the silence. This time it was closer, right outside my bedroom window on the second floor. How could someone whistle from up there? There was no balcony, no tree close enough to climb. I bolted upright, heart pounding, and yanked the curtains open. Nothing but darkness and the faint outline of the Hargroves' house across the fence. Sleep didn't come easy after that. The next morning, I mentioned it to my best friend Sarah over coffee via video call. "Probably just the wind," she said, laughing. "Or you're hearing things because you're alone in that big house. Get a cat or something." But it wasn't the wind. That evening, as I cooked dinner, pasta with marinara from a jar, the whistling returned. It was faint at first, coming from the backyard. I froze, spoon in hand, and listened. The tune had changed. Now it was "London Bridge is Falling Down," slow and deliberate, like a child's nursery rhyme twisted into something sinister. I grabbed a flashlight from the drawer and stepped out onto the back porch. The yard was small, bordered by a wooden fence overgrown with ivy. "Hello?" I called, my voice trembling more than I cared to admit. "Is someone there?" Silence. Then, from the shadows near the fence, the whistle resumed, louder, mocking. I swung the flashlight beam around, catching glimpses of the Hargroves' backyard. Empty swing set, overgrown garden. No one. Panicking, I retreated inside, locking the door behind me. That night, I barely slept, jumping at every creak in the house. By morning, I was determined to confront the Hargroves. Maybe they had a relative staying with them, or perhaps Mr. Hargrove had insomnia and wandered at night. I knocked on their door around noon. Mrs. Hargrove answered, a frail woman in her 70s with kind eyes and a floral apron. "Hello, dear. You're the new neighbor, aren't you? Emily, was it?" "Yes," I said, forcing a smile. "And I wanted to introduce myself properly and, ask if you've heard any whistling at night?" Her expression shifted, subtle, but I caught it, a flicker of unease. "Whistling? Oh, heavens, no! My husband doesn't whistle. Bad lungs from years of smoking. Why do you ask?" I explained the incidents, leaving out how scared I had been. She listened politely, then shook her head. "Must be kids playing pranks. This neighborhood's safe, but you know how teenagers are. I'll keep an ear out." It didn't sit right, but I thanked her and left. That afternoon, I installed a cheap security camera on the porch, pointing it at the backyard. If it happened again, I'd have proof. Night fell, and with it came the whistle.
This time, it was inside the house. I was upstairs in the bathroom brushing my teeth when I heard it echoing from downstairs, faint but unmistakable. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. My blood ran cold. I dropped the toothbrush and crept to the top of the stairs, phone in hand, ready to call 911. The living room was dark, save for the glow of the streetlight filtering through the curtains. The whistle grew louder, coming from the kitchen now. Step by step, I descended, heart hammering. "Who's there?" I whispered. No answer, just the tune looping endlessly. I flipped on the kitchen light and it stopped. The room was empty, no signs of forced entry. But on the counter, next to my half-eaten dinner plate, was a single ivy leaf, fresh and green, like it had been plucked from the fence. I checked the camera feed on my phone. Nothing. No movement in the yard. That was the breaking point. I called Sarah, sobbing. "Something's wrong with this house, or me, I don't know." She drove over the next day, staying the weekend to keep me company. We laughed it off during the day, watched movies, ordered pizza, but at night, the whistling returned. Sarah heard it too, her face paling as the melody floated up from the basement. "What the hell is that?" We armed ourselves with flashlights and a baseball bat from the garage, descending the creaky stairs. The basement was unfinished, concrete floors, exposed beams, boxes of the previous owner's junk. The whistle echoed off the walls, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere. At the far end, behind a stack of old furniture, we found a door. It was small, like a crawl space entrance, painted to blend with the wall. I'd never noticed it before. Sarah pushed it open, revealing a narrow tunnel lined with dirt and roots. "Oh, God," she whispered. "This looks like something out of a horror movie." We didn't go in, not then. Instead, we barricaded the basement door and spent the night huddled in my room, lights on. The next morning, we researched the house. Online forums and local archives revealed a dark history. In the 1950s, the property was owned by a man named Elias Hargrove, Mr. Hargrove's father. Elias was a recluse, rumored to have dug tunnels under the neighborhood for escape routes during the Cold War. But one night, he vanished. Search parties found nothing, but neighbors reported hearing whistling from underground for weeks after. Elias's body was never found. The tunnels were sealed, so the records said. Sarah left that evening, begging me to come with her. "This place is cursed, Em." I stayed, stubborn maybe, or compelled. That night, the whistling was relentless, circling the house like a predator. I grabbed a shovel from the shed and headed to the basement, determined to end it. The tunnel was cold, damp, stretching farther than I imagined. Roots tangled in my hair as I crawled, flashlight beam bouncing. After what felt like hours, it opened into a small chamber, crude, with a cot, canned food, and yellowed newspapers from the 50s. And there, in the corner, sat a figure, skeletal, dressed in rags, whistling softly. It turned, eyes gleam in the dark. "You've come," it rasped, voice like dry leaves. "I've been waiting." It was Elias Hargrove, or what was left of him. Trapped, surviving on roots and rainwater, driven mad. He'd been whistling for help, but no one came, until now. I screamed, scrambling back, but the tunnel collapsed behind me, trapped with him. Days blurred. He told stories, delusional rants about the end of the world, how he dug to safety but got lost. The whistling was his signal, he said, his way to call family. The Hargroves knew. They'd heard it too, but ignored it, fearing scandal. When rescuers finally dug me out, alerted by Sarah, I was alone. Elias's remains were there, but fresh, as if he died recently. The whistling stopped, but sometimes, late at night, I hear it again, faint, from under my bed, waiting.
Story 2: The Duplicate Life. My name is Alex Thompson, and I work as a software engineer in Seattle. Life was routine. Wake up at 7 a.m., coffee, commute, code, home by 6 p.m., Netflix, bed. Until the day I woke up twice. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were taco nights at the office cafeteria. My alarm blared at 7. I hit snooze, then dragged myself out of bed. The apartment was as I'd left it. Dishes in the sink, laundry pile growing. I showered, dressed in my usual jeans and hoodie, grabbed my laptop bag and headed out. Traffic was light, unusual for rush hour. I arrived at work early, greeted by my coworker, Lisa. "Morning, Alex, you look rested." The day proceeded normally. Meetings, debugging code, tacos for lunch. At 5:30, I packed up and drove home. Dinner was leftover pizza. Watched an episode of some sci-fi show, bed by 11. Then I woke up again. Same alarm, 7 a.m., same apartment, but something felt off. The dishes were clean, laundry folded. I checked my phone. Tuesday. Again. Deja vu, I thought. Shook it off, showered, dressed, commuted. Traffic light, again. Lisa. "Morning, Alex, you look rested." The day proceeded normally. Meetings, debugging code, tacos, home, pizza, show, bed. Third Tuesday. Now I was freaked. I tested it, skipped shower, wore different clothes. But at work, everything repeated. Lisa's greeting verbatim. By the 5th Tuesday, I was unraveling. I confided in my boss, Mark. "I think I'm stuck in a loop." He laughed. "Too much coffee, Alex. Take the afternoon off." I did. Drove to the mountains instead of home. Sat by a lake, watching the sunset. Felt real. Went home late, crashed. Woke up. Tuesday. Panic set in. I screamed at the alarm, smashed it. Neighbors banged on the wall. I called in sick, spent the day researching time loops online. Forums like Reddit's/Glitch in the Matrix were full of similar stories. People reliving days, seeing duplicates of themselves. One post chilled me. "I saw myself from yesterday. It waved. Then I vanished." Was that my fate? On the 10th Tuesday, or was it, I decided to break the pattern radically. Instead of work, I flew to New York. Impulse ticket. Wandered Times Square, ate street food, felt alive. But at midnight, I blacked out. Woke up. Apartment. Tuesday. Despair. I quit my job in one loop, robbed a bank in another, got arrested, but loop reset. Nothing stuck. Then the duplicate appeared. It was loop 23. I was at the office, staring at code, when I glanced out the window. Across the street, in a cafe, sat me. Same clothes, same laptop. He looked up, met my eyes, waved. I bolted downstairs, crossed traffic. The cafe was empty. No me. That night, the duplicate knocked on my door. I peered through the peephole, myself, smiling. "Don't open," I whispered to myself. But curiosity won. "Who are you?" "You," he said. "The original. But I've been here longer." He explained. A glitch in reality. Multiverses overlapping. Each loop created a duplicate, echoing actions. But they were fading, merging. If we don't fix it, we'll both cease. How? Break the cycle permanently. We plotted. At the exact moment the loop started, 7 a.m., do something impossible. Next morning, we synchronized. I jumped from the roof as he set the apartment on fire. Blackness. I woke up Wednesday. Relief. Work was normal, new meetings, no tacos. But in the mirror, my reflection winked independently. The duplicate lingered.
Story 3: The Forest Echo. I'm Ryan Hale, a park ranger in the Pacific Northwest's Olympic National Forest. 10 years on the job, I've seen it all. Lost hikers, bear attacks, suicides, but nothing like what happened last summer. It began with a missing persons report. Sarah Jenkins, 25, avid hiker, vanished on Trail 47. Her car was at the trailhead, keys inside. No note, no signs of foul play. I led the search team, me, 2 deputies, and a K-9 unit. Trail 47 is moderate, looping 8 miles through dense firs and ferns. We started at dawn, calling her name. Echoes bounced back, Sarah, Sarah. But something was wrong. The echoes lingered too long, distorting into whispers. By noon, the dog, Max, grew agitated, barking at nothing. We found her backpack, untouched, with water and snacks. Then, a scream. Human, female, from deeper woods. We ran, crashing through underbrush. The scream repeated, closer, then farther. It led to a clearing. In the center, Sarah, standing still, back to us. Sarah, are you okay? She turned, face pale, eyes wide. Who are you? We approached. She bolted, vanishing into trees. Pursuit futile. She was gone. Back at base, her family arrived. Mother hysterical. That's not possible! Sarah's home! She returned last night! What? We called. Sarah was indeed home, confused about the fuss. Said she'd gotten lost, but found her way back. But we'd seen her. Or something. More disappearances followed. A family of 4 on Trail 12 found their tent empty, echoes of laughter, then cries. I investigated alone one night, against protocol. Heard my own voice calling, Ryan! Followed it, found a cave, hidden. Inside, figures mimicking hikers. Echoes made flesh. They were forest spirits or anomalies, trapping souls, echoing lives. Confronted one resembling Sarah. What are you? Echo, it whispered. We live your lives better. Fight ensued, escaped but scarred. Now, echoes follow me home. My reflection calls my name.